Greetings viewers, another racing Puma in today. Just thought I'd make a little video on this. Got some real big noisy problems with this car behind the door panel, and so I thought I'd take it all off and just try and deaden down the door a bit, see why there's so much rattling going on. I think it might actually be in the rear quarter as well, so we might have to take all that out. So I'm armed with some Dynamat Extreme, which I'm going to use on the inside of the outside door skin. I've also got some closed cell foam, which is around about sort of 3mm thick, which is quite handy for sort of cutting down the noise. And I've also got some squashable foam. Now this isn't closed cell foam, so you can't use this on the inside of the door, but this is great for squashing in between panels just to reduce panel noise. And I've got some Gorilla Tape, some Gorilla Epoxy. No hair dry jokes please. So I've got a few tools with me, so here we go. Let's have a look what's going on behind that door card. Usual break on that, which is a bit of a shame, but very thin piece of plastic. Someone seems to have glued that to the car somehow. Okay, someone's had a bit of a fight with the door clips. I was expecting to find a whole sort of set of eBay clips on there, but no, there's only one eBay clip. So we'll put some new clips on it. There's a few broken bits in there, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Now it looks like someone's only been in this top corner. I was expecting this all to be in pieces and completely mangled, but it's not. It's actually it's got all the original sort of bonding on it. I'm going to have to go in there and have a look. Just thought I'd add a little bit of voiceover on this part of the video. Quite often when I do this job, it's because I'm doing a speaker upgrade sometimes, audio upgrade, or sometimes a lock rebuild kit is needed. On a lot of these cars now the locks are all seized up, and it's not nice when all the locks are seized up and your battery dies, and your remote dies or something like that, and it can cause a real faff, so it's always good to have at least one lock barrel working properly. Okay, a bit of an interesting one. I was expecting to find a bit of a can of worms in there and a bit of a mess, but doesn't seem to be much wrong in there. So I'm going to line the inside. I'm going to put some Dynamat in there to quieten it down, and then I'm going to move to the rear quarter and see if there's something going on in there. On this section you'll see me just cleaning the door inside there with some brake cleaner, just to make sure that it's nice and sort of clean before I put those patches of Dynamat on there. Now because of the shape of the door you can't really apply massive patches all the way along the door, so I tend to just apply it in squares. Also because we're in the middle of winter, I'm just sort of heating them up a little bit just to help them bond onto the door a bit better. and then I'm working the back of it, just using the back of a screwdriver there just to sort of work it in so it sticks a bit better. Then after I've applied several layers, or several patches of the Dynamat, I'll then cut up some pieces of the closed cell foam that's also adhesive as well, and I'll just stick that in various places. Also I use a few select little pieces of the foam just to sort of wrap around some of the wiring loom and some of those bits and pieces that are loose that might just sort of cause a little bit of a rattle inside the door card. Okay, take two. The battery, the camera battery died there. I didn't know anything about it. Okay, so I've got my Dynamat in there, and I've got some thin closed cell foam which I've put on top of the Dynamat. So that should really sort of quieten the door down a lot, make it noticeably quieter in the car. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick this back, and of course before I do that I'm going to get rid of all the old clips. Make sure there's no bits of plastic left in the door, and go ahead and fit it all back. I think the quickest way to remove the old clips out the door is just to get a sharp chisel and just whack it on the front of the clip. Just break off the front part that you can see, and then just find the back part of it inside the door. Okay. Mix a bit of epoxy. Okay, so here I'm going to bond the weather shield back on. It's important that this seals onto the door, otherwise you can get a water problem. So I'm using a mixture of a small amount of epoxy just to bond around there, and then I'm just going to sort of finish the edges of that off with some Gorilla repair tape. And again, because it's winter, just to get that tape to stick a bit better, I'm going to heat it up with my hairdryer just to sort of soften the glue a bit better, so it really bonds on there a bit better. I'm just going to add to this as well, before we get into the next clip where I fix the door card back, that it really is worth buying the proper Ford clips. They are silly money really, at £2 each, but I mean you can get 10 clips for £3 or something on eBay, but they're just absolute rubbish. They don't fix as well. They do sell some ones on eBay that look absolutely identical, but I've used them and they do work, but they're not identical. They're not the same plastic. You have to bang them a lot harder into place, which makes them break a lot easier. So if you want to do it once and you want to do it properly, just go to Ford and get the proper clips. It's probably a lot easier in the long run. And if you're making a bit of a job of it, doing one or two other jobs in the door as well, you know, if you put the right clips in there and you put brand new clips, you're probably not going to have to go back in that door again for a long time, hopefully. Okay, so on to installing the door card now. I'm going to just remove these old clips. So that's the other half of the clip. Here's the proper clips. 1044806. We need 8 of those per door card. And yes, they are £2 each. Sorry, Dave, but these are the proper ones. So you've got both parts of the clip there together. Squashy foam. Here I'm applying the squashy foam stuff that's great for panel work. Really good stuff this is. It's not cheap, but you only need a few little choice places of it, and it really does keep the noise of the door card down a lot. Okay, so a few random pieces of foam on there. Back in. You'll notice once you've got it in this position and got all the holes lined up, very easy just to simply just press the panel into place. You don't need to smack it or bang it. He says. Maybe you do need to bang it a little bit. I've got all that foam to squash. Right, that is as solid as a rock. One last little bit of advice here: if you do go into the door and you strip it down to get to the door latch assembly, make sure you change that alarm sensor while you're in there, which is like the door ajar sensor, because you really don't want to be doing that job again. Don't you just love it? The amount of times I've done that. Marvellous video. I think we'll leave that for another day. Hopefully the sponge that I've put in there will take up that. I'm certainly not going to separate those clips now. Right, jobs are good, and I think we've done. Apart from that. So I think that should be pretty solid now. So now we're going to do a little sound test, just to show you. I don't know whether you're going to hear this, but you should if I knock the rear quarter and then compare it to this. So a very different sound. I don't know whether that's coming through there, but I think you should be able to hear that. It has definitely deadened the panel down a lot. Nice. Okay, so I still suspect, because the amount of noise that was coming through this car was so much, that there's something going on in that rear quarter, like the speaker bin is loose or something like that. We're running out of time fast because it's December and it's, I don't know what time it is, but I know I'm probably down to my last hour of daylight, so I'm going to crack on and remove the rear interior and have a look in there.